Hey guys, Lucas from iExplore here, and today we're going to do some unstreet photography. Now, more about that in a sec, but I just want to remind you all, as always, please check us out on Patreon. If you sign up on there, you'll get access to these videos early and ad-free. Also, you can get access to a map of Tokyo photo spots. And also, if you're interested in any of the gear that I use during the making of these videos, check out the referral links in the description below. Anyway, let's get on to the video.
iExplore.
Alright guys, so what am I talking about when I say unstreet photography? That sounds like a really goofy thing to say, which it is. But basically, you know, there's a bit of fuss about the definitions of street photography and what it is and what it isn't, and there's a lot of work in this genre that's been done over the decades. It's in a way one of the oldest genres of street photography. It's been around since like, you know, the 40s. That's like, you know, Henry Cartier-Bresson's day. Anyway, and so certainly I do street photography a lot, and I think I'm associated with this genre myself. But I do feel at least that more often than not, most of the time, I'm not doing street photography, but I'm doing something that's kind of like it, but doesn't really fit into any other category. So I usually just call it urban photography. But I think it'd be fun to kind of dissect this a little bit of what is actually going on when I'm shooting, like what we're going to shoot today, which is like pipes on the wall, you know, dingy, cracked things, you know, broken stuff in the streets, bicycles, this kind of stuff. So to me, this is unstreet photography. It's like street photography in the sense of you do it in the street, you do it candidly, you know, the photos are unstaged, unplanned, and you know, so it has a lot of those characteristics in common. It often has that otherworldly quality, but there's often no people. The moments are not that decisive because you can come back the next day and all that junk is just there the same way. But it still, I think, defies being pegged or put into any other category. And I know categories are not that important, but it's fun to talk about these things. It's the kind of stuff that I think about sometimes when I'm walking around doing these kinds of photos. So here we go. We found the first unstreet scene of the day. This scene of these colorful cones. Where's the camera? The scene of the colorful cones. These like sort of, you know, past their prime flowers. This dingy wall. And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So I shoot this stuff all the time. I love these things. These things are very beautiful to me. But they don't really fit into that category of, you know, at least how I defined it in that other video, of street photography. And that's fine. And then, you know, you don't need a definition for this to be able to do it. But again, just to discuss it for fun, just to kind of analyze it, that's what I consider this. This is the unstreet photography. Now let's keep going. Usually it doesn't take much to get a shot because nothing is moving. The cones aren't going to run away. The plants aren't going to run away. Yeah. And by the way, today, just a little bit about the gear. I'm using the GR3, not the X, the regular 3, because I find the extra width is good for the kind of stuff I want to shoot today. Some of the streets we might encounter are very narrow, in which case there's not a lot of room to move back, therefore the wider focal length is better. But the real reason is I dropped my GR3X recently in the process of shooting a video. And it didn't really break, like it was basically fine. Let's keep going this way. But the shake reduction did break, and it wouldn't work anymore. So I had to take it into Rico to get it repaired. So it's in the shop for 2 weeks. Woe is me, but that's okay because I have the other GR, and we're going to use this one today. And actually, like I said, I think it's better for the kind of subjects we're going to shoot. So yeah. So why is it a big deal to me? Oh, here's a nice little scene with the mailbox. Actually, I should point out, just today, Axel gave me a lovely little gift. He gave me a book of photos by a photographer whose name I haven't memorized yet. Bruno... How do you say? Huh? So, here, Axel can say it to the microphone because he is French.
Bruno Canquet.
There you go, Bruno Canquet. And, oh, here's another cool mailbox. So now I'm totally stealing, and man, this might be one of the ones from his book. It kind of looks like it. So he produced this wonderful book of photos of mailboxes all over Tokyo, or Japan in general. And it's a very nice little book. I'll try to find a link to it and maybe put the link in the description. And I just flipped through it today and I thought, oh, that's a cool idea. And it sort of was perfect timing for this video, because this is a video I've been wanting to make for a while about this un-street photography concept. And I would define the photos in that book as an example of un-street photography, because they are these pretty, interesting, kind of strange, coincidental moments that we as street photographers hunt for, but they are not about revolving around people as much as they are about just these random objects, in this case, mailboxes. And in my case, it's things like pipes, bicycles, also graffiti, the usual flotsam of the city, the things you just encounter around as you wander. Of course, plants as well. I like when plants coincide in interesting ways with the environment, the urban environment. Yeah. I like this scene right here, right? This is a good example. I love this green wall. I love the balcony. And then the little plants that are on that balcony there. I'm going to underexpose this a little bit. It's a little bit bright. So the thing for me, and so again, if I call it un-street photography or street photography, this is just me kind of playing verbal games. It doesn't really matter what you call it, what it is. But the kind of photography that I'm trying to do, or not even trying is the wrong word. So the thing that I do naturally in my life, it's a bit like breathing. Everybody breathes, right? Let's go there and cross. Yeah, okay. So everybody, as I just said, breathes. It's natural. You don't think about breathing. Well, that's how I think about this kind of photography, is that I don't think about it. I just bring my camera and I go out and I just shoot whatever. I don't have any real preconception other than if I like it, I'm going to shoot it. Like if it says something to me, I'm going to shoot it. I'm not trying to do street photography or not street or whatever, hence the term un-street. It's not that. It's not anything. And so therefore, in a sense, it's really easy. I don't consider it a challenge. Like people often say, and I know I've said it too, say, street photography is a challenge. But when you do it like this and you have this approach, it's not a challenge. It's actually like one of the easiest things you can do, because there's no wrong way to do it. There's no right way or wrong way. You just do it, and whatever you shoot is fine, it's good, because the goal was just to be out there shooting. The goal is not the photos themselves, right? But there's kind of this dilemma, because then, when you're, and I think this is maybe a modern social media kind of problem, right? Where if you look online, there's all this great work and whatever, and you end up, whether you want to or not, comparing yourself to other photos, right? Or your photos to other photos. And then you think like, oh, those are really good. I want to go make good photos. Let's go this way. And as soon as you start to think that way, this is what I find for myself. As soon as I start to think to myself, I want to take good photos, I want my photos to be better, it creates problems, because then, you're like disappointed some days. I come home and like, oh, these photos all suck. But do they? They don't, because I had a good time taking them, and I still explored the area, and I still got some, some experience of that place, right? So we just took a little break because Axel has like the gimbal in one hand, umbrella in the other, and that was not working well, so we attached it to his backpack. I'm quite proud of how we just figured this out. So here's a photo of it. I think it's impressive how we made this work, because now he can use the gimbal and the camera with two hands and doesn't have to hold the umbrella. All right. So yeah, often I don't go out to shoot this kind of stuff on rainy days like this, but we had time to shoot today, and it's raining today, so oh well, it is what it is. But let's see what else we can find. A couple more cool subjects in these streets, which I explore often, regularly. Now here's a scene on this side that I like. I also like these kinds of piles of trash, just random stuff, which I think works. So we'll just take it like this. Nice. But in particular, I think this baby chair, regular chair makes sense. But I also like this orange bit on the ground here. Just a little bit of everything. It's kind of an ugly scene, right? But there's something about it. Something organic. Let's keep going this way. In fact, one of my series of photos of this kind of subject I call Urban Organics. Because, oh, this place is here. I have a photo of this, and then I never remembered where it was. I see, it's here. It's a sunny day photo. Another pile of stuff. You can see why I think that the regular GR3 is better for this than the GR3X. Because, see, sometimes it's just kind of a tight space, and I'm trying to get like the whole scene. I love this umbrella propped up over here with the yellow lines extending from it. It's a beautiful little scene, simple. So you can see how easily this kind of subject matter will sort of transform from this unstreet concept into just regular street photography. Like, I'm shooting a scene like that, but a person walks into it and I get a decisive moment. That starts to be street photography, like as we all know it, right? Let's go this way. Oh, here we go. Wow, this is cool. There's a person in there. So this is exactly what I was saying. So now, it was on-street photography, now it's just street photography. Because there's a person, right? I'm on a slow shutter, so when she came out, I wasn't expecting a good photo. But when she was still in there as a silhouette behind the door, I think it was a little more interesting. She never quite got into a good position, like for that scene, but it was okay. Let's keep going. Actually, first I'm gonna take a photo of this bike. This bike is great. That's my jam. Nice bike. So yeah, those of you who know, I take the photos of bikes all the time. I'm gonna back up a little bit. And that to me is an example of what I'm talking about. It's on-street photography. So in a sense, you could also how to say, portray this kind of photography as you're shooting the human presence or the human influence of the world indirectly. So there's no people in the photo, but obviously a person left a bike there, right? I was just looking at the wall here, but we'll keep going. So a person left that bike there, right? A person left that graffiti there. That pile of trash from before, well, that's people put that there. So it's still human-centric, it's urban photography, it's about life in the city, but it's not about people directly, right? So like I keep saying, it's harder to get a decisive moment. Very unlikely. Still possible, I suppose, especially on like a windy day when things are moving. But basically, you're just getting these kind of urban still lifes. I guess that's a less sexy way, more boring way to say what I'm talking about on street photography. Now, I should mention, like, one of the things that prompted this topic and me wanting to make this video is that over the last couple of months, I get comments sometimes. People say like, there's no interesting photos in this video or whatever, which may or may not be true. But what's important to know is that that's the kind of the primordial ooze that the interesting photos come out of. You don't get interesting photos without uninteresting photos. So you need to have un-street photography before you get street photography. And here's one of my favorite little intersections. There's a bunch of stuff here I've shot before and I like shooting, and I want to shoot again today. One is this cool, safety mirror so that people can see around the corner better, and just the way it fits into the environment and the pile of trash at the bottom. I love the curve of the white line along the bottom of the frame. Very nice. Okay, we'll eventually go down there. I also love this electrical pole or whatever this is that's kind of leaning against the other one, and it all comes together to create this kind of wonky geometry. I wonder if my umbrella can fit into the scene today. Let's stick the umbrella in. Yeah, cool. It looks like it belongs, kind of. Then on this side is one of my favorite things around here. This blue wall with these, like diagonal lines cutting across it. Very nice. Ooh, it's a deep puddle. Right, back up here. And this I always find tricky to shoot because There's also these blue arrows here on the side, and a cheeky reflection of me. So sometimes I cut that out and I just go this way. I would prefer, and just getting that that red awning up there. Come on. Okay. Now, I was going to say, this is one reason I love the GR, especially on a day like this, because it's so easy just with one hand to shoot up like that. Okay, let's see what else I can do here. My favorite photo of this, I'll probably throw it out, is actually, it was autumn and there was yellow leaves everywhere on the ground. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I looked at that photo. And the yellow leaves played nicely into the scene. Okay, just let that guy through. Just getting this bike parked in here. I even like this little, like this pipe trying to make its way out from here. So I guess, I know I'm rambling a lot because I'm trying to shoot and I'm wandering in the rain. I'm going to repeat myself a little bit in this video. It's a rambly video. But I think the important thing is to kind of summarize or reiterate what I already said, is that for me, what I'm doing with this kind of shooting is I'm just going out, I'm just shooting. I'm trying as much as possible to just be mindful of the moment and enjoy what's there without any consideration about what the results are going to be. And this is also useful. This kind of actually, now that I think about it, ties into a question I often get, or like almost like an accusation I often get. People say, you know, you're so lucky you can just go walk around in Tokyo and it's so easy to take photos. And it's true that I am lucky that I get to shoot in Tokyo. That's something that I'm very fortunate to have. Let me get ahead of you here, Axel, because there's a car. And also some shot opportunities here. So although I am fortunate, even if I was in some more, you know, according to other people, like a more boring place, I would still do this. I would still do the same thing. I would just go out and just do on-street photography because I don't have a preconception of what I want to get. But sure, if you in your mind tell yourself, well, I want to get neon lights, you know, night street photos in Tokyo like all those people do online, and you live in, you know, the middle of the countryside in a tiny town, yeah, you're going to feel a sense of like, oh, I wish I could do that. So in that case, I encourage you to have this on-street photo mentality and just embrace whatever you have. Don't try to create, you know, not create because you're not creating anything, but don't try to like wish that you had something that you just cannot in that situation, right? Appreciate the things you can shoot. So I like shooting, you know, this kind of, you know, old potted plant in front of the little wall here, right? I'm gonna get a little closer in a second because this to me is all I need. It's already interesting. And I also like the red text on the wall there. Uchida Kokaisha or something. It's like Uchida Manufacturing, I suppose. That's just some sort of workshop. It's kind of cool. This is nice, like how the plant just makes a little guest appearance in this scene. Another thing that I know I already kind of mentioned earlier, but that I hear a lot is like how hard street photography is. And I'm guilty of saying that. I tell people like, yeah, street photography is really hard. Because I want to make them feel better if they're failing at it. Like, you know, and people say, by the way, street photography is 99% failure. That's a bunch of bullshit. It's not, because I don't believe how you can fail at it. And by the way, I know I've said that before to people, because I heard that somewhere else and I kind of just parroted it. But the more I think about it, it's like, how can you fail at it if you don't have a goal? Street photography is a goalless photography. You just go out, what you see, you shoot. So how can you fail? The only way you can fail is if you decide, it's raining out, I'm gonna stay home and just play video games. Then you failed at street photography. That's a failure. But if you can get yourself out of the house with the camera, and it's a bit of rust there, and just looking around at your environment, then you can't fail, right? It doesn't matter how the photos turn out. It's a success just to get out of the house. So in that sense, street photography is easy. All it takes is a pair of shoes, camera, and the willingness to go out and explore the city. Oh, that's a lovely scene as well. Very colorful. Nice. And the other thing is, like, I don't really post these photos on like the main social media, like on Instagram and stuff, because I think most people are not going to appreciate them. And if you do appreciate them, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's just like the kind of stuff that people just ignore because it's too basic, I suppose. This is a nice scene as well. This is the mailbox. So now every time I shoot a mailbox, I'm going to think of that photographer Bruno and his lovely book. Nice. Very cool. What I love about this scene, in fact, I'm going to shoot a little bit again because I think I can emphasize this. The mailbox is cute, but really what I love is the way this pipe like just goes off out of the frame. Alright, so let's make that the main thing. I'm a pipe guy. Mailboxes are that other guy's thing. I'm a pipe person. Okay. No mailbox, just the pipe. One more photo here. Yeah, I like how this plant is just totally like monstrous, popping out from behind this wall. Excellent. Alright. So guys, I think that's about it for this video. You know, a little bit of a walk around Ikebukuro, a little bit of a ramble about street photography and what it means to me in a more personal sense than just trying to define it, right? And yeah, I guess my goal for you as the viewers, that I hope that you will feel encouraged to approach things this way too. Don't try to, how do I say, like follow other people's footsteps, to shoot like they do, to do what you feel like you're supposed to do. Like, oh, this is the definition, so I need to do this. At the risk of, and if you want to do that, that's great. But I mean at the risk of ignoring these mundane things all around us, like what I shot today, just because that's not the standard thing people shoot. It's beautiful if you make it beautiful, if you see the beauty in it, I should say. So thank you guys for watching, and remember always, challenge your eye.